Ladies and gentlemen, back from Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. I think they got something they want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. Washington, D.C. I think they got something they want to say.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Kerstyn, and I have my lovely co-host with me.
Hi, everyone. Maxine, the Democratic wildcard. Hey.
Yeah.
And hello. Everybody's very conservative in New York. Christopher Wright.
And we are the Politricks Podcast. Today is episode 19, guys.
Boo. Because it's the little hiatus.
It's our
so
little
it's
hiatus.
A little sad.
I know. We told you. This is our last episode until September. We're going to take a little summer break because, we've been going strong since March.
Yeah, wow.
Man.
Did you realize
March?
that? Yes. Since
Damn,
March.
Man. Wow.
So that's crazy. And we need to kind of rebuild and, come back bigger and stronger. And do some research, and we'll be back just in time for the third Democratic debate. So you'll hear our analysis.
You'll hear my laughter.
Yeah, they're cutting a lot of the people. So
I can't. If we want to even cover it, we'll see.
We're gonna cover it. We're gonna.
Girl.
Okay. Well, thanks for everyone for listening and sharing the podcast and leaving comments. Please continue to share with friends and family. Follow us on Politricks Podcast on Instagram, Twitter. It's Politricks Pod. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, hello. You can please leave a comment, hit subscribe, and just share it with your friends because we need all the love we can. Mm-hmm. We're still building, and we're also available on Spotify, Apple, Soundcloud, and Anchor. So we're out here in these streets. And today, as you can see, because if you're watching, you know that we've got two special guests here. One that's a returning member. We've got Cleo, the amazing dog, and we have Karl from the Options Gang.
Yes. He's back.
I'm just Karl, civil rights.
I always give you the option. I always shout you out, and you're like, no, I don't care about that.
Nah, we put it on the side. Like I said, I don't promote it because I just don't want get rich quick people coming through. So it's not really
Smart man.
It's not something I promote, to be honest.
But I have to say, you've got a loyal fan base. Like you've got like a little squad. And shout out to them if you're watching because Karl's here. Please continue to watch. Don't just leave after he leaves. Do you notice that? Like sometimes I'll see like a follower write something, and then I look at who they follow. They also follow him. I'm like,
Right.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, how was your week? How's been going on since the last time we saw you?
Same old. Obviously things haven't been too good the last 2 days with Trump.
About it.
Back off in the market.
So we'll get into that. Don't worry, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But on your side, like, how's everything with you? How's your podcast? Are you guys?
Everything's going good.
Okay.
We actually, we keep getting guests. We got a couple of real good guests lined up. We just did one. I wasn't on last week because I wasn't in town, but the week before we had Mims on, and he was telling us because it's
Mims, the producer, rapper.
Yeah, he's in like the whole tech space now. Like, he doesn't.
That's so smart.
And
That's what
a lot of rappers
every
are doing.
rapper
But he's
should
been
do
in
that.
it for a minute, to be honest, and it's. That interview, I didn't know anything about him. Like that interview, like I learned everything about him, and even when you hear his whole transition into music and his transition out of music. Well, he still does music because music is something he's passionate about, but he does music like an artist, like for himself. Like he doesn't really like do music to like put out. But he's a very intelligent dude. Like
is he making money? Still, he's making like he's good. He's better off. You're saying?
Yeah, he's fine. Like he's fine. Like he trust me. And a lot of things people don't really understand. He was getting money behind the scenes too. So he had his business together. He was marketing other artists. He was a producer as well. So he's like, ironically, probably most of his money did not come from This Is Why I'm Hot, but he's good. He's not. Ironically. Yeah, he's not. Trust me, he's not struggling.
Right.
Nice.
Right. That's awesome. That's good stuff. Can I just say a happy birthday to you?
It's your birthday?
Yeah. Well, technically, it's past. but you guys are seeing us. We're probably wearing the same clothes because we literally didn't want to go home, so we just stayed here until the next week to. It's pre-recorded, but happy birthday to Maxine, a fellow
Thank
Leo.
Happy birthday.
She's getting up there. She's already
so depressed about it.
55 years old. So.
Struggle.
But you are.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm so like, oh my God.
I know.
I'm turning 31.
Oh.
Turned, whatever.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, but I don't know why I'm like freaking out about it. I have like 2 grown kids. I don't know what my
They're
deal.
not grown. Don't tell people out there that you have grown kids. They're gonna
My
think you have
daughter's
16-year-olds and 20-year-olds.
12. I mean, that's getting
grown.
to be
That's pretty big.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so I would if I had already felt she's gonna be 12 soon, yeah.
Okay.
And then gonna be 7. So that's pretty big, Like it's not like I have babies running around. So I should have already kind of felt like, but I don't know why. I'm like,
because you don't look a day.
Because I've already been
over
living the life of like
19.
a 50-year-old woman. I don't know what my deal is, but like I am freaking out. I'm freaking
She's
out.
having a
about it.
midlife crisis.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I really fully am.
It's
so.
okay. Will support you here on the podcast. We're here for you.
Thank you.
So how's our favorite conservative, Chris?
Things are good. Nothing really for, nothing too big this week, really lined up, what I'm saying? By the time you're watching
going.
this, no big rallies or anything set up this week or anything like that. I got some big things planned for September, though. I can't say too much, but I got a big event planned for September.
Ooh,
so
we can't wait to hear. We can't wait to hear when we get back. We're gonna.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear about it. I guess.
Not promote it.
I know. I was gonna say
support it, promote
I was actually
it.
gonna say be a part of it, and I was like, wait,
exactly,
relax.
exactly.
Before, we're not that. We just
Maybe we need to be like a lad, and just like be there and question people. We should
come
lad,
with microphones. Like, do you know what you're doing wearing this hat? Like, can you explain to me what about this hat makes you feel
what has he
empowered?
done for you?
Specifically, you.
And they could explain. I guarantee everyone can explain themselves.
I don't know about that.
Unlike the
These people
left, they
don't
run
seem
away
to-
from the microphone on the left. You know what I mean? You put a mic in their face, they're like, Nazi.
No, not
Real
at
talk.
all.
Yeah, he launched Elad's videos. Happens all the time.
No, I
They
know.
call him Nazi and stuff.
No, I know,
He's a
but
Middle Eastern Jew.
Yeah, I know, right? But I don't see that. I don't see. See, here's the thing. Both sides are weird.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put
yes, it is.
anything on anybody.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna
I won't
put.
argue with that.
But
Facts.
But I just can't. I personally, we talked about this earlier, Chris. We talked about how my parents are very conservative in thinking, but they're not conservative in
Voting.
It's not your parents. It's That's literally most minorities.
Of course.
Most minorities grow up with conservative values.
Correct.
That's right.
But they just don't identify
Align.
with conservative politics.
Well, they
That's
would,
right.
and it's funny because my mom says all the time. I mean, she votes for Republican. She voted for what's our Republican mayor, Bloomberg. She voted for Bloomberg.
He wasn't a Republican. He was
At the
independent.
time. He did,
Independent.
but he did. Didn't he? He voted as wasn't he a Republican the first time he ran around?
No, he always ran as an independent, but the Republican Party would
Back him.
yeah, you could still have somebody.
Okay.
Like you could run in the independent and still be. on
he's more
someone's ticket.
liberal, but
On the ticket,
But
right.
even Mayor Giuliani too. She voted for him too. It's
Okay.
like sometimes we do what we have to do, right? If
Clean the streets up. You know what I mean? First Republican gets in there and the streets are cleaned up. Democrats ran it. Everybody's killing each other. Typical Democrat running stuff. People
I mean,
Chicago,
I think
Baltimore.
I mean, when we
LA.
when we talk
List
about
goes
that,
on.
but there's also you have to say there's racist Democrats, there's a lot of racist Republicans. We know that it's really about the person, right, that's running, because we can.
The ideology, conservative ideology. Like you said, the blacks are more conservative when it comes to where they grow up. Why don't we vote that way? We should.
Because we can't
Economic.
identify,
Because the
and we can't
politicians don't represent
Yeah,
it either.
we can't identify.
and that's where the
thank you.
Republican Party messed up. Is they
Thank
let,
you,
they let
and
the
we
wrong
can't,
politicians.
and we can't identify. We can't.
At least you're acknowledging.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We can't
I voted
identify
Trump's the
with
only
these
Republican I ever voted for in my life.
And I couldn't identify with him either. I can't identify with someone like that. All your businesses fail, and you're still
Well,
you're
I'm
who
multi-billionaire.
you identify with? Which politician do
What
you
business-
identify with?
right now.
Right.
Anyone in history.
Oh, in history, I identified with the Clintons. I identified
rapist.
with.
And how did?
He's not a rapist.
I'm just saying.
And
but-
identified.
Juanita
Alright, so
Broderick.
I
He's
did.
a rapist.
So-
He's not a rapist.
I'm just saying. Let's just stop there.
I love that you like to say stuff like that. You throw in these things.
Juanita
And
Broderick.
Until
Let's
there's
not get
some local.
derailed. Hold
there's
on.
some local
Let's
I
not
could
get
name.
derailed. So that's the.
Yeah. I
Google
identified with
Juanita Broderick.
Obama.
You
Google
don't-
Juanita
hold on,
Broderick.
just stop right there.
Go ahead.
So you identify with Clinton,
Clinton.
and what did that get you? Like what?
There was a surplus. There was a surplus when he left. There was a surplus when he left the presidency.
The most black men ever locked up in American history.
Wait.
Thank you, Bill Clinton.
Yeah, but there was also in the 90s.
So you're willing to that's a trade-off. Hold on,
Three strike law. Three strike law was Clinton. Three strike law was Clinton.
But you speak and I
because
three strike laws. Thank you, Reagan, and thank you, Nixon, for having racist people in power. Thank you for bringing drugs into the inner cities.
Democrats had nothing to do with that?
That was all Republican presidents.
They're all Republican presidents all the way from 1960s to Bill Clinton. It was all Republican presidents.
I'm talking.
There were no Democrats in there. There was a majority House and Senate were Democrats for 40 years during that time. So they could have.
What time? What? You have to be specific.
From 1964.
I'm talking about the 80s. I'm talking about when it affects me.
I'm talking about that goes through the 80s from 64 on. It's been House and Senate been majority Democrat. The Republicans got control back of the House and the Senate.
60s were John F. Kennedy. We're talking John F. Kennedy. After Kennedy was Lyndon B. Johnson. Johnson helped.
Democrat. Who said we're going to have these N-words vote in 200 years after he signed that bill.
And we're racist. There's racism on both sides. We know that already. We know that. And it's also the 60s.
But you guys are doing it now.
Black people and what white person was really supporting what? Let's be honest. We have to be honest.
All I'm saying is
Jim Crow laws were in effect. We have to think about.
And who put Jim Crow laws in effect? The Democrats. Who are the ones who were behind slavery? The Democrats. Who's created the KKK? The Democrats.
I think to go to Karl's.
There was no big switch. To go
to Karl's question, I kind of do struggle to identify.
Oh gosh.
I think lately there's some local, the newer progressive people. Like there's a local, assemblyman that I could totally identify with. That's why I like Yang, because he speaks like the way he thinks, the way I do. He's
very logical.
You know what I'm saying? But I think if it's hard for us because we're millennials, it's hard for us to ask us in the past, did we identify with older white men that's a hard question. But I think if you ask today, I could give you some names, and they're usually millennials, and they're more progressive, innovative thinkers.
Even Pete Buttigieg, you can kind of identify with the things he's saying. Yeah. Why did you laugh at that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I identify with him. Why? I identify with his policies. I identify with the way he speaks.
Hold on. Well, initially we were talking about fine with the people, because you said you can't identify with Trump as a president.
No,
right?
I cannot.
Hold on. But you can identify when a president has a surplus in the economy, but you can't identify when Trump has the economy booming.
For what people?
For everybody who's an American. If you're an American.
Wait, hold on. When it was booming for
I got more money. I got way more money than Trump presidency.
Let's stay focused. Let's not get derailed.
Please.
So, under Bill Clinton's administration, you're saying that you're saying that poor people were elevated. What data is even supporting that minorities, black people, whichever demographic you want to break it down, were elevated under that administration?
So
jobs.
So there was a lot more jobs. Yeah, there was.
So unemployment is at historically lowest levels in.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
We're talking about Clinton.
There too.
If you want to stick to the 8 years of Clinton,
remember, she identifies with Clinton and she can't identify with Trump. She identifies with Clinton because of the surplus.
I identify,
and you guys are now talking about jobs. And
also his policies. I like the fact that he was progressive enough to.
But why can't you identify with Trump when you identify with the same policies? When he has record low unemployment, which is something you are just identifying with under Clinton. What's the difference now that you can't identify with?
The difference is orange man bad. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Orange man bad.
Well, this is what this all goes up to. Politics is tribalism. This is all tribalism. What you guys are just doing, this is tribalism.
Correct.
You guys are... People are masking that they're voting on policies, and 99% of people do not vote policies.
Correct.
It is a popularity contest. It's who you like.
Yeah.
So it's just like school class president. But it's literally, people vote school class president. People pay more attention to high school class president policies than they do presidential policies. That is based, presidential policies is based more on, they would actually, if a kid says, yo, I'm going to get, extra 30 minutes for lunch if you make me president. People be like, yo, I'm voting for him because, yo, you heard about it? But it doesn't matter what the politician says. If that's not the, if they don't have the look, if they don't have the, the Kamala Harris shoulders, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just saying, no, she has the... No,
she wears a lot of pantsuits, though.
No, but I'm saying she has the solid broad shoulders that makes if you study like
Nixon Kennedy.
It's
he's right.
People break these things down into science in terms of appearance. This is why like people a certain height never a president, and then these things matter. So even when you talk about like women in executive roles, there's a certain reason why women with a certain look and a certain build are in these positions.
Why do you think she never wears dresses?
That's
like
beauty
flower
bias.
Dresses? No, but imagine if she wore like a floral dress.
She would get boxed in. Kamala Harris does not want to get boxed into the
beautiful woman. So people
as a black politician, you can get boxed into the Michelle Obama lane, and not necessarily saying it's something to be bad to be identified with, but most of the country will not take you seriously as like an executive in terms of if you're talking about like warfare, being hard on crime, making like tough decisions.
Right.
A lot of people don't necessarily identify with Michelle Obama as a person. You're not taking anything away from an education and a qualification.
Right.
This is just perception-based assumptions that people make.
And people look at and say, I'm going to vote for this person.
I mean, no one here looks at Kamala Harris and says, oh, she would not press the nuclear button if she had to.
Good point.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But everyone here would look at Michelle Obama and probably be like,
she's going to be nicer.
They're going to really have to force her to make her press the button. You know what I'm saying?
That is such a great analysis. That's something that we need. That's very, very poignant. Like, that's something that's very true. And that's why, because I'm always saying, like, damn, why can't she wear like a dress or something? Like, mix it up, get a little stylish. But you're right, because if she starts wearing these beautiful dresses, they'll sexualize her. That's another thing.
Didn't we learn that with Hillary?
She's a beautiful woman, so they'll sexualize her. They won't. Now it's no longer about what she's saying; it's about what she looks like. She's like, no, I'm going to come in my suits, the same suit. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be.
Hillary broke that wall down already. That's old news.
No, that's not necessarily the difference.
No, I'm not saying it's old. I'm saying, but I know what you're saying. Though.
Nah, you can't use Hillary because Hillary doesn't have the option of being sexy. Like Hillary only.
Very good point. I'm just
just being realistic. So like, even if you look like, so you know what? I don't even know if people paid attention. To me, I think the smartest decision was what Tulsi did with that white executive pantsuit. Like, so if you look, she kind of rode that line. Like, I gotta, cause she's already a military woman, so people already like they know she's
Tulsi?
tough. Yeah,
Tulsi?
But she did the all white to try to like soften her up, make her look more palatable. So to like,
didn't work on me.
I'm not saying it was gonna work.
Right, I just want to get back to what
but
you were
that's
saying
just
about
what
Clinton.
people do.
I hear you.
There were certain things that, I mean, obviously, I was younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like not even a teenager when he was the president.
Right.
So a lot of this stuff is from your parents, right? Being, hey, people saying he's the first black president, whatever.
Yeah.
And
our parents are worse than us.
Possibly. In views, possibly. But,
you know,
with what respect to what you were saying about the fact that there was the third strike?
Yeah.
Three strike law.
The three strike. We talk about this ad nauseum.
Yeah, we really
talk about, and we can say it again.
Hope we don't start again.
But we know why a lot of that happened, and we always have to say, let's take it back from.
There's other ways of getting it done without being a three strike law, though.
Right.
You get with three strikes.
Maybe lessons learned now.
You get caught with a nickel bag 3 times, you're going to jail for years.
A lot of things
Come on, man.
And I think he apologized. A lot of things.
Oh, he apologized. Oh, you've been in jail for 50 years, but I apologize.
You have to talk about accountability. Why are people doing crimes?
Why are people having nickel bags and dimes?
Don't do crimes.
Not dimes and nickel bags?
It's against the rules. You also have to understand.
So a dime bag of weed should put you in jail for decades.
Well, that wasn't what
that's three strikes law. That's a crime.
Okay, but if you are doing a crime perpetually, and then now the third crime is something like a dime bag,
multiple times
you need to stop.
But hold on. See, the problem is when a conservative says what you're saying, he's a racist.
Oh my gosh, he's a Nazi.
If he says what you say, if he says exactly what you said, word for word, quote for quote, he's a racist.
He's Hitler.
It's true.
And these type of.
I said context to you. I tweeted you. I said it's all in context.
But I'm just saying
it's coming from love here.
No.
You cannot say that. No. You are making you're making a logical a position on the thing. Don't like run away from it.
No, I'm just saying
there's nothing wrong with it. But all I'm saying is when a white man does that, it's interpreted as racist.
Because when it comes, how does it come from? It's context, right?
It's the same thing.
It's okay to be. It's okay. It's okay to be. It's okay. No.
Hold on. If dad tells you, to go wash the dishes.
If anything, the white person is even more justified to feel that way because he doesn't even grow up in an environment that should even forgive activities like that. So he doesn't grow up around crime. Crime isn't something that he's accustomed to or familiar with. So why would you expect a person that has grown up in that environment to even have that type of empathy for people who commit crimes?
First of all,
so when he makes the same, and then hold on, and then when he says the same,
grow up in crime. Do not say that white. I'm just saying that's not.
I'm not saying a white.
There are white people. There's mafia people. There's a lot of white people.
The people you see on TV saying, "Oh, we need to be tough on crimes," and not the people that grow up.
Your president has done many crimes.
You know,
he's done many crimes.
Bill Clinton's brother got popped multiple times for cocaine.
A lot of his people. A lot of the people that were with Trump are all in jail. He has people around him that are crime. He grew up with crime.
Listen,
so don't say that they don't know.
He's not in jail. What has he been convicted for? What has he been known? What has he been convicted for?
Clinton. He's not in jail. They want to lock them up, but you can't. What they do?
And hold on, and Clinton could fly around with Epstein. And he can associate with dudes like that, but you can identify with him. And that's what I'm saying.
And underage girls, too.
Clinton is closer to pedophilia than Trump is to racism.
Facts.
I'm just saying.
First of all, they've already said that he wasn't on that plane.
No, they said it. Who? CNN said it?
The pilot said otherwise.
Russian hoax.
The pilot has the
Russian hoax.
Russian hoax.
You can't all stop.
Yeah, y'all gotta go one.
But I haven't gotten yet. I'm saying, so you're saying CNN and MSNBC said it's not true, so we're supposed to believe it now, right? Like they've been telling us for the last 3 years that Trump is a Russian spy. That's all became a big hoax. So that same media, you're telling me trust them now, though, Chris. Trust them this time. So you see what happens? You keep trusting the media, you keep getting screwed. That's what the Democratic Party keeps happening. They keep getting screwed because you keep trusting that fake news, man.
Listen, I don't want to be.
That's why Trump exposed them.
First of all, I will tell you this again. I don't want to. The Conservative Party, until they start speaking our language and not
prison
supporting prison reform is not that's not something. There's those.
Some of the black community in general.
Okay, but the white supremacists that are 100%.
What's that to do with Trump?
But why? They're all involved in the Republican Party.
They're not. Anytime you see Trump do a rally or an event, you don't see no white supremacists out there doing anything. I've been to a bunch of Trump rallies.
True.
I've never seen a white supremacist ever. I've seen more white supremacists on the left say ignorant things to me.
White supremacists on the left.
Yes, Democrat Party. Who did create the KKK?
Wait,
the Democrats created the KKK. I have had white people on the left, on social media, never in my face, of course, call me a coon, call me Uncle Tom, call me the N-word, call me all those things. Because I'm a black conservative. That's the only reason why they had. You're black and you're conservative. How dare you, you stupid idiot. That's racism. And when you say, hey, you're being racist, they're like, oh, am I?
You're telling me.
Yes, you are. Because you're discriminating me because I'm black and I don't choose to do a narrative you want me to do. You say you're black, you should be a Democrat. I'm a conservative because I got an independent mind. Then you become racist.
See, I don't agree with that. I don't think they should. I think you should be allowed to be whoever the heck you want to be.
Anybody in America. Anybody in America.
Anyway, that's not, this show is not about you should be voting for Democrats.
But that's what I'm saying. But I deal with Democrats all the time.
You did in the past. For the last two presidents before Trump, you might do it again. You might vote for a Democrat down the line. Doubt it. Well, you said you might. If you find someone that you like, you might.
As a non-socialist, I might.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Were you going to say something? I
was just going to ask you if, are you trying to say that you don't believe there are a lot of racist people that support Trump?
I believe there's racist people that support a lot of things. There's racist people in America. There's always going to be in America. It's never going to stop. To the day America's done, there's going to be racist people living here. On black people, white people, Hispanics, Asians, racist. This is what it is.
But do you feel like there's a proportionally higher number?
Right. Everybody's racist.
Everybody. Yeah, exactly. My parents
prejudice, racist.
Okay, we
everybody's
we all inherently biased.
Racist, prejudice, whatever. Hey, you know somebody because your skin color's a problem. You can put a prejudice name or a racist name on it. It's wrong.
The four of us here are black, right? This country, right, has not been very favorable to people of color. Can you agree?
More, yeah, one party more than
another. I would say the world, but yeah,
but
I would.
But I'm going to say we're here. We're here.
I'm just saying. I don't want to single out America like they were the only ones.
We're here. We're here. Right. But we're going to say that for the better part of the United States has been unfavorable against people of color, black people specifically. So when you put racist white men in power, what does that do to black people?
But you're saying this like racist white men.
No, I'm just asking you a question. I just want you to answer that.
But the reason why I can't answer that question, because the question is asked with the assumption like there was ever a period when racist white men were not in power.
Correct.
So it's never been like we talking about like magic, like you talking about fantasy, like stuff
Well, I
that's
like the
never
way you
happened.
speak.
Like
Then. I like the way you
No,
speak
no.
because at least you're real about it.
No, but Secret Service agents.
I don't hear him saying something like that. So to me, I feel like
I say the type of things I say all the time, like his Secret Service, like Bill Clinton's Secret Service agents wrote in books about how there's Hillary Clinton, especially, has said racist things about people who work for Secret Service for them. So there's books written about Bill Clinton being a racist and Hillary Clinton. So when are you talking about white? So you want to talk about Trump so much being racist, you don't talk about your own people so much, though. I don't understand that.
Because
it's bigotry.
Because what he says.
Because it's bigotry.
Well,
I'm saying, but you're being bigotry.
He's
with
outward with
I'm
it.
being bigotry.
Yeah, if you point somebody else, this guy's racist, but when somebody on your side is being racist, you don't worry about that.
I would call him out. I would call him out. He's just outward.
I think
he's brash. He's not outward racism. No, he's just brash in general.
I think calling Mexicans rapists and that's bigoted.
Are we upset at honesty or at the thoughts? Because if people have the thoughts but they don't verbalize them, what's the difference?
Everybody does have.
I think that if we all started, telling you guys about how I feel, and she starts telling him how she feels, the world, we can't live.
Can I answer the question? Yeah. Okay, I don't. Obviously, we all have terrible thoughts, right? If people knew what we were thinking, I don't agree with your statement. Like everyone's racist, but I think like everyone says like. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't curse.
But I think why it bothers us is because he's the president.
Give me.
And I look at it, so I interpret.
I just expect him to behave a little bit different and to get his points across that he's trying to make, whether they're valid or not, in a different, more eloquent way.
But see, I'm past the eloquent part. I'm at the point now. Says, give me the truth.
At the end of the day, like, who cares who voted for him? All of America are his constituents, right? So nobody should feel like he's targeting them. Nobody should feel like they're left out. He should feel like they should feel represented by him at that point. Regardless of the points he's trying to make. And it's the way he says it. It's like he doesn't care who he offends, and they're all his constituents.
Well, not illegal immigrants.
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But
I mean, they're not like so.
And look how he talked about the Republican primary.
I can't come back and I literally was like, okay.
And look how he
Karl with the bar. Mic drop.
But no, and look how he talked to people on the Republican side in the primaries. Look how he talked to Jeb Bush. He talked down to Jeb Bush. He's talking like he was a dog, which he is pretty much a dog. So
what makes him a dog? What makes Jeb Bush a dog?
Because he screwed a president at a winning presidency at one time with his brother.
Okay.
You want some more information?
You're right.
You want some more information? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can't. These guys, man.
Perspective is a hell of a drug. I look at this as the most honest presidency we've ever had.
Thank you. Brash truth teller. Give me a brash truth teller over articulate liar.
So that means that you're comfortable with someone.
I'm extremely
honest.
comfortable.
Me too.
Clearly.
I'm
saying I don't like this. I don't like that. Like if he today said, "I hate black people. I really don't like them," you'd be comfortable.
No, of course not. Of course, but come on, Rick.
But he did say that.
No, stop.
If he said, "I hate black,"
he would respect him.
I'm just saying. But I'm just saying if he did. I'm not saying he has.
Here's the thing. I'm just saying.
I'm sure he's never used the N-word before. I'm sure he's never used it.
I'm sure a lot of old white people have used it before in the past behind closed doors. Like my parents have said. Like my parents have said some mean things about white people behind closed doors that they wouldn't say in public. So it's just we're all people. We're all human beings. We all look at other people and say other things about other people. It is what it is. He's a brash. Give me a brash truth teller. Listen to this. Listen. Give me a brash truth teller like President Donald J. Trump over articulate liar like Obama any day.
So you don't think he
week.
should just rephrase things so there's no like political chaos?
In my opinion. He's a lot more chill than he was when he was in primaries. A lot more chill.
But can we just agree that our elected officials have spent way too much time covering Trump's comments?
I agree.
It's ineffective.
What if that was the plan? What if that was his plan all the time?
I don't know, but that doesn't bother you.
I'm just saying, you don't see the cycle. I'm about to pass some legislation. Let me put a tweet out. The media focuses on my tweet for 2-3 days. The legislation gets passed. I get my way. And the cycle keeps going. Like, y'all don't see the pattern? Like, it's the same thing. It keeps happening all the time. Are you comfortable
with the conservative, all the conservative judges, the Republican judges that he's appointed statewide, 140 of them? Are you comfortable with what they... Are you comfortable with that? I should say.
I think it's me personally. I don't give a fuck about. I'm sorry. I don't care about a lot of that stuff because I plan on like kind of unplugging myself out of like the web of a lot of this stuff. Like I don't necessarily need to be in the mix in urban city centers to be affected by a lot of these policies.
You live in New York, though.
For now.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I
Fair.
don't like I don't.
But so you don't care about the rest
I mean,
of
it's
us?
something to pay attention to, like mildly, but I don't like that stuff. Doesn't affect me. Like, cause we vote. The thing, people vote for our local judges. Like when we go in New York, when we go and we vote for our local judges. He appoints these conservative federal judges. I don't plan on getting arrested for any federal crimes.
I know that. But do you care about for the other people, for your brothers and sisters that are coming behind you? How about them?
I don't want them going to do crimes either. Like again, but you gotta
But if they get into something.
community. You strengthen our community, people won't be out there committing crimes.
I mean, if the issue is crime, the way to fix that and to fix minority placement in crime would be an education solution. It wouldn't be a solution of judges.
There you have it.
So if that's what you're really trying to solve, the conversation about judges doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter whether it's a liberal. You got to get people out of that whole pipeline.
We can still be very educated. We were educated at one point. We were going to school, and they still got after we talk about this after slavery. We were going to schools. There was a higher education rate back in the day for people of color, and then it stopped.
Democrats took it from us.
Well, a lot of that happened with integration. Is where you'll see the rates of black children literacy dropping and education dropping, high school grads. So that's really where that started from.
Right. So now we're in this predicament, and if people do get in trouble and they do,
but again, you skipping over education. Like that's the whole thing.
I'm a big proponent in education. I don't say, because like what I'm trying to say is that they'll still get you. It doesn't. You can be an educated doctor and still be, can still.
But that's not what happens.
Are they getting Africans right now who are coming in here getting a bunch of degrees, making a bunch of money? Are they getting people from the West Indies doing the same thing? They're getting the Chinese. Are they getting all these people coming over here making money? Minorities. Over American blacks, the only ones here complaining and crying still because we got a victim mentality.
Here's the thing.
Think to the left.
Here's the thing. That story doesn't really happen. The story that really happens, that's the most unfortunate story. It's a dude that's probably in the street, probably didn't do a major crime. He's like a low-level dude, but he may get caught up mistakenly for something major. But again, he's still in that realm that made him susceptible to those type of things. Yeah. So like I used to have a joke like when I stopped going to clubs, like I used to get into fights a lot at clubs. It's just like it's a magnet for it.
That person get into a fight.
So I told dudes I stopped going. People see me joke about it all the time, but I don't party with urbans. I say it all the time. Urban. Like no, so I don't put myself in environments where the places I go, like these type of things can't even happen. Right. Like I can't even I'd have to, if the places I'm at, I'd have to force a fight to happen. Like you know what I'm saying? So again, going back to where I'm talking about education, that's not no doctor getting pulled over and framed with 3 kilos of coke and now he's in the federal. Nah, it's a dude that might have been a runner for some other dude and he get caught up with crazy packs, but he was never no kingpin. But now he's facing a case that you probably need a lawyer with like a 20-30 grand retainer, and he can't do it, so he gets reamed by the justice system. But that dude had no options because that dude has no education, so whether he got caught that day or it was 5 years down the line, he was still gonna end up in the same place. Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, that's facts. That's facts. I mean, I can't say I can't disagree with what you're saying. I can't at all. I think you made a really good point. And I mean, I hope that people listening, these are the kind of things that they're really thinking about. It's like we've got to. I still feel like we have to break the cycle. I don't agree with the victimhood mentality. I don't find myself to be a victim. I don't think you find yourself to be a victim.
Then why do you?
I don't, but there's some that do.
Right. Do. But I say I don't identify.
And you're one person though. That's one.
Right.
One
no,
vote.
I know, but I do feel like there's a lot of.
I don't know if it's like
a lot of people that don't.
Walk around New York City a bit.
I don't know if it's fully concentrated like in the black community. Like, can you just paint such a brush over the whole community to everybody feels like a victim? I don't know.
They've had
don't get me wrong. When I say these things, I'm not saying like chips aren't stacked against.
I was just gonna say,
but African blacks didn't have it hard. African blacks had it hard too. African blacks had it hard. Blacks in the West Indies had it hard. Don't talk about blacks in Haiti who were in the West Indies, what they had to deal with. So they come over to America and they do their thing, make these degrees, get great jobs, making a bunch of money, starting businesses, and they look at American blacks crying like, "What are you guys doing?
Well, see,
you guys have everything here for us to do it, and we just did what we were told, and look, we're doing it."
But there's some cultural nuances with that too. So a lot of people who come from the islands. So if you look at something like property ownership, like people who've come from the islands usually have already had an experience with property ownership.
Correct.
So when they come here and they're setting up shop, property ownership is a goal.
Right.
People who are they're gonna get they already hate me. The ADOS cats, the American descendants of slavery.
Oh wow, there's an acronym.
That's what they call it, ADOS. But people within that community, ironically, I'm not saying that. Ironically, historically, it did have a long history of home ownership. But again, during integration and a lot of the migrations north, a lot of that, culture of ownership kind of got faded out. So when a person does come in this country right now you come back in the contemporary sense. Yeah, a person from out of the country, they have a different cultural perspective that allows them to take more advantage of what's available to them in America. Whereas and I tell people all the time, it's all about, like most people, it's access. It's like if people have access to know what's available out there, they'll do it. Like a lot of these dudes, if they know they could make 80 grand being a postal worker, you think they'd be selling drugs? These dudes are not even making 80 grand a year. So a lot of these dudes.
Look at the Jewish community, man. Jewish community.
How do I get the job?
Yeah, you could be a postal worker without a degree.
Even a high school.
It's just high school. You could be a postal worker with a GED.
Yeah, but that's what sense of community is so important, because you have an older dude around the neighborhood. Hey, man, all you gotta do, young man, is this, brother.
Same thing for sanitation.
And then he'll do it.
Same thing for sanitation. Sanitation with overtime, you're doing 6 figures. Like, so again, like these are things
but do black people want to do those jobs now? Like,
come on, fam. If you ain't educated and you don't want to pick up garbage for 6 figures, I got nothing to do. Go sell drugs, my nigga.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry. Go sell drugs,
Real talk, though.
I can't help you, son. I can't help you at that point. I can't help you.
But like,
I can't help you, son. Go sell drugs, fam.
You know what? That's a good point. But we've talked about that in the past. That I think that was one of your points, that you feel like that's why I think you feel, quote unquote, that immigrants are taking the jobs from.
They are taking the jobs
from what black people could be doing.
Definitely,
it happens.
What we did do already, we've done it.
And again, when it's so funny, because even though a lot of those ADOS people hate me, I completely understand their claim when a lot of them have that like vitriol against foreign blacks coming in. I understand where it comes from. I think the anger is misguided, because the anger should be at the system, not at the fact that we're taking advantage of the little bit of market share. The question should be like, why is it only that much market share for us to, split? But it does happen. The dynamic happens. These are unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is nature. Things are not fair. The problem is people look for equality and fairness when we're in a natural universe that there's no existence of fairness in nature. Like, you can't see it. A deer will get eaten by there's nothing.
You're right.
So we're trying to create like
perfect utopia.
That's the
heaven on earth.
Hey guys, it's Maxine here with a special message for our listeners. I want to thank you for listening to Politricks Podcast and wanted to share an exciting offer to entrepreneurs and supporters. We are now offering businesses the opportunity to be advertised on our show during this mid-roll. If you're interested, please email hello@politrickspodcast.com. We are also taking support from our listeners through the Anchor app. Just click the Support This Podcast button and you can give whatever you want. The funding is helpful to increase our production so we can add video and start marketing and advertising for our podcast. We appreciate you, and please continue to listen to the show.
We got to get into some topics. We got to get into some topics here.
Like one.
All right, so let's talk about this ASAP Rocky, Free Rocky. They've been talking about... I guess he was in jail for a couple weeks. If you saw the videos out there,
in Sweden.
In Sweden. He was in Sweden, and him and his bodyguard and his friends beat up a guy that was like following him and taunting him, who from the video
defended themselves.
They defended themselves. He looked absolutely. He looked like the I'm just trying to articulate what the person looked like. He looked like he was Arab, but
he was a refugee.
Oh, he was a refugee. Okay.
Mm.
Do you know what country? From what country he was?
Syria.
Okay.
No way.
Really? Yeah, probably.
Sweden's been taken over by Sweden refugees.
You know what happened in Syria.
That's why the rape has skyrocketed, by the way.
Oh,
but
wow.
that's a whole different ball game. But real talk. Look at the statistics.
I gotta look that up.
So I know he just throws these things at us. It's like sometimes I wish I had like a fact checker. Maybe that's one of the things we need to get. Like, just a fact checker that's just. And I have my computer in front of me, but I just can't keep up with the conversation if I start fact checking. But we definitely need someone, or at least if you're listening out there, leave some comments. Let us know what we're saying. If we're saying a wrong fact, any of us.
Please.
Sometimes
I always say check me. I always say check me. On that.
Yeah, every time, just like send us, a comment and leave us, let us know. So anyway, so Trump intervenes and decides he's going to lead the charge in freeing ASAP Rocky, which is very nice of him. But we wonder. Is this like a new trend? Like, is this the proper way to use our diplomacy to get a celebrity free from jail? Is that something we should?
I just want to be the conspiracy. Man? Yes, I was just gonna say I'm not even the conspiracy person.
I actually want him out because he's a black man.
It's interesting though because we are kind of getting close to election time, and do you need some more black people to vote for you? I don't know. I'm saying, hold up, real quick. I think it's weird that he called the president of Sweden over this guy. That's weird. And he also sent his dude, I want to get the name up, but he's a special convoy that's only usually sent in freeing hostages to Sweden to negotiate.
Oh my
really?
gosh.
I think that's a bit much, and that's extra about a celebrity. I just feel like that was an overuse of...
He was not sent to negotiate. He was sent to oversee and watch and sit in on ASAP's
But
case.
that was never used before. Every other case, it was for hostages, and that's what his role is for.
Yeah, well...
the president...
Look, the man, he was another country, got attacked by Syria.
But
listen, when you happen to have...
That's
when you happen to have people like Kanye and Kim Kardashian who keep the interests of black people in their minds and hearts, and they have the ear of the president.
So you agree?
They're able to do
it. It was
that.
a tactic.
Who? For him?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I honestly think Trump really didn't even care. And then Jared Kushner hit him up yo, Kim K knows this thing. It'll be a good opportunity for outreach for black people. And he's like, yeah, I could get Sweden to do that. That's nothing. He was and I think people think these things are so
detailed,
super calculated.
No, not with this president.
A lot of
I definitely don't think
that's not true. There's the things y'all don't think are calculated, but the things y'all do think are calculated are just happenstance.
Yeah.
So literally people just don't know that connection. Jared Kushner is a direct in Trump's inner circle.
Right.
Kim K and Jared Kushner are cool.
Yeah.
Once Kim K said she was gonna make the call, she made the call. You got to Trump, and Trump just did the favor. You got to understand, Trump's whole black outreach is through Kanye.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Absolutely.
You're laughing, but literally,
since he did it for 5 seconds. Where he been?
But he never denounced him.
He hasn't.
He just fell back. He just fell out of the light. You got to understand, as long as and what he did, he fell back. And if you notice, his wife is taking in. His wife is first of all, Kim K is already setting herself up for her own political career.
Yes,
if y'all not paying attention,
I know.
If y'all not paying attention,
what's the next phase in the Kardashian?
So again, Kanye stepped back from that. He already put his wife in place, and she's using her influence to help black brothers. I don't see what the problem is.
I'll tell you what the problem is.
And not to mention, the way I look at it, if you look at the whole situation, ASAP was in a situation he shouldn't have been in the first place. That was Sweden using him as a chess piece. Because if you see the video, those Syrian refugees, they walked and traced him down, walked around. He was trying to avoid him. He went to him one time, he even said, brother, leave us, please, man. Leave us alone. These guys were setting him up, man, because they said, oh, you broke our phone. They never took phone, never broke a phone, but they accused him of that. And when they got...
No, the headphones. He did break the headphones. Because the guy,
because he hit him with it. Yeah, you see him. He had physically attacked him. So he was the aggressor. So then then at that point, what ASAP did was self-defense. He defended himself.
Correct.
And, of course, put the kid's guy's butt because these little Syrian refugees are scrawny, a lot of them. So he kicked his butt. And then when he kicked his butt, then Sweden came in and arrested ASAP and put him in jail for how many weeks did he have him in jail for? It's crazy. If that was in this country, that would have been a huge problem. He was in another country dealing with a huge problem.
If the son of JP...
And the reason Sweden did that because Sweden didn't want all attention on them because they know they had these Syrian refugee crisis over there in Sweden right now. So they were using him as a chess piece, like, we put him in jail and don't let the cameras come out here because they see what we're having going to Sweden right now with all the rape cases increasing and everything. You see these Syrian refugees are a problem. This rapper comes over here and gets attacked by one of those refugees. And now he's about to put the cameras on him, and the president is now stepping in. He stepped in because he's like, we have issue with her already. What better way for me to step in on there and show everybody what's going on in Sweden than me to help out ASAP, who's in a situation he shouldn't have been in because they are trying to protect their own with not letting people what's going on with the Syrian refugee crisis.
If Jamie Dimon's son got caught up in Sweden, he wouldn't even been in. The same calls would have been made to the Trump administration, and he wouldn't have even been in there for that month. So, like, these things happen all the time, but it's just not going to make the news because, like, who would care if, like, Jamie Dimon's son, I don't even know if he has a kid right now, but theoretically, whenever these same things happen with a lot of these people that are in power, like these people that are hedge fund managers, so these things just don't make the news. So when you say, like, is this the right use of our political diplomacy, like, this is like a glitch. It only really made the news because it's ASAP Rocky. But this thing happens all the time in all types of countries.
But that is a problem.
But usually the president has to be involved in that anyway because that's an American citizen.
No, that's why you have ambassadors and other people representing you. Why do you have to make a personal call?
Because it's dangerous in Sweden right now with the Syrian refugees over there.
But what is that? You keep saying that, but isn't that opposite?
Their problem. And Trump always says,
what's opposite about the Syrian refugees attacking somebody, an American citizen, in another country, and then that citizen getting jailed for getting attacked?
I think this is more play on...
Hold up, but you guys, he actually sent a letter saying if you do not release him, there will be negative consequences for Sweden. That's a bit much.
Because no, it's not. Because they let the borders open to these refugees who are now destroying that country. And now,
but that's not our problem. Trump always says America
first. If you take our citizen, it is our problem. You took one of our citizens, now it's our problem.
Yeah.
So he stepped in there. Now he stepped in there. You don't treat American citizens like that.
Ever. Here's the thing.
Sweden.
One man.
Hold up. Let me just finish. The reason I'm not denying that it was a excessive use of force. I don't think he should have been arrested. I don't think any of that. I agree. But I'm saying, like, as somebody who visits countries that need help and there's humanitarian crisis going on and the president could just pick up the phone and have that and use that kind of power, like, there's a lot of places, there's Americans, like, literally prisoners of war still out there. There's hostages, journalists.
The world is watching them.
Let me finish. In the Middle East, that are just because they're doing their job are getting beheaded. Why are we...
To Trump's credit, like, bringing hostages back has actually been a priority for his administration.
And he's eliminated ISIS too. He's eliminated ISIS.
That's
I'm talking about Americans.
Exactly.
No, but what I'm saying is him freeing ASAP Rocky is actually consistent with his administration's positions. They was working to free that pastor out of Turkey. Mm-hmm. Like, they even went to North Korea to get the bones from old war victims from the Korean War back in the day. Mm-hmm. Like, they wanted to get those American bones. They got those American bones back. So
and it demolished ISIS almost now. You don't hear about ISIS no more anymore. They demolished ISIS.
So this is actually...
I don't know about that.
Real talk. What do you hear about ISIS? You haven't heard about ISIS.
I mean, ISIS is demolished, but that's besides the point. It's consistent with his policy. What he's doing with ASAP is consistent with his administration's policy.
Exactly.
Y'all are just shocked that it happened to a black dude. Like, wow, a president could call another country to save a black dude? This can't be right. This can't be
right.
What a racist.
What a racist. What a racist. He's such a racist.
Well, hold on.
It's not that genuine.
I don't think
anyone thinks it's genuine. I don't think Trump cares.
Yeah.
If ASAP got hit by a car tomorrow, Trump would not shed a tear.
But he looked at from Mike Tyson back in the day, so he looked at he has a
well, I think
that's why he's not a racist. That's why he's not a racist, though. That's why he's not a racist. Yeah, and that's whole point with Trump, though.
It's called green. There's not green.
Again, that just goes to the whole thing. That's why he's not a racist. If a racist wouldn't have done that.
And this is why
he wouldn't have hit ASAP Rocky at especially.
But we talked about 2 episodes ago.
Or Jennifer Hudson.
Huh?
Jennifer Hudson, after her family was murdered, she lived in Trump Towers for about 2 months.
I don't know.
Real talk.
But we talked about how we don't think that Trump is racist, right?
I don't.
We don't think so.
He's a New York white
you
dude.
said it. You said it last.
I said it.
Some of the things he said.
You were gonna say he's a New Yorker.
He's a New York white dude. Like,
Yeah,
if you've been
that's
in
what
like
I said.
corporate
Thank
America
you.
and like mess with these like white
I mean,
dudes,
they do have.
that's
their
not scared that'll just like talk. Like,
I think he
Yes.
says like things that are prejudiced.
he says stuff that people say at
Inherently
water coolers or in the
racially-
back.
Exactly.
And no, the
Apparently
people-
racially insensitive.
They
like-
shouldn't, but
The
yeah,
dudes in the back, like in these warehouses, when they cracking jokes with each other, like it's the Dominican dude, the white dude.
My fiance said, because my fiance is fair skinned, so sometimes they think he's Italian, and they start talking like, look at this. They say the word for a Spanish person, the negative word, and he says something to him, and they're like, yeah, right up, like trying to get him to like engage in the conversation, and then when they realize he's Spanish, then they stop talking to him, like they're not like as engaging, and I feel like stuff like that. I feel like that's why we don't do it. That's why it's not. Because you don't know who you're offending. Like calling someone out their name is just not. It's just not necessary.
No offense.
I'm working. I'm not trying to be sitting here. Because if he punched him in the face, he can't work.
I
right?
hear you. No offense.
Do you get what I mean?
No offense to your husband.
My fiance. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry,
That's
your
okay.
fiance. In all the work environments I've been in, like in the back, and I've worked in luxury establishments, like. Yo, it's the dudes talk like it's like Twitter in real life. Like dudes are cracking regular jokes. Like dudes are cracking on the Spanish dudes, Puerto Ricans cracking on Dominicans, black dudes cracking on the Asian dudes. You know, you cracking on the different types of Asian dudes. Like, so it's like. And we are all just exchanging those jokes. So when I see a dude like Trump, like, yo, you gotta like again. Most of the country got thin ass skin.
Is it right?
Absolutely, because
it's right to make fun of other people.
Because what you're seeing right now, when people shoot up buildings because they're mad, this is what happens when you like. Sensitize and pussify the whole society, where you get dudes that they're.
Thank you. No,
that's a dude that never. That's a dude that didn't get beat up enough because it's just like no. I'm just saying if you're just mad and you just want to go just shoot up random people, like. Again, to me, you just really haven't gone through serious trials and tribulations in your life.
Right. Especially like that, the one in Parkland. Like that kid I think he killed kids on Valentine's Day or the day after because he like was mad.
Girl like
like a girl, but again,
what the heck?
That's what I told you earlier. That's a kid that with wins and losses. You play sports, you learn how to win and lose, and not everybody's a winner, but somebody's a loser, and they learn how to deal with it then. So when a girl breaks her heart when they're 16,
these are people that never had to worry about like a meal, worry about like where they were gonna live at, worry about anything like that, because you have to. There has to be like you have to have the luxury of mental space to even get that crazy. Like when you so concerned about like just making it, think about it. The people who are under the craziest conditions, they still keep going because their mind is just preoccupied to just making it to the next day. They're working. They got to do stuff for their kids. They just like, it's like almost like they call it the hamster wheel. Like you get into the hamster wheel and people are just in that same track. Like you literally got to have nothing to do to be like, yo, I'm mad. I'm going to go shoot people.
Correct.
Like it's like almost you have to have
idle time.
Too much time in your hands.
Idle time. Yeah. I mean, and studies show that
or reach a breaking point. There's people who go their old job and shoot the place up.
I mean, well, those I think
they break.
Going postal is a different phenomenon, and if you notice, people who go postal, they come back and they just kill that manager.
Why do they call postal?
Not really,
because like
the post office.
A lot of postal workers, I think that's where they got
the highest to go back and shoot up to work.
Yeah. So
Why in the post office?
But now they're shooting other people too.
But again, those people, again, these mass shootings aren't people who got fired from their jobs. Like, which mass shooting was a dude that got? When you see a dude
this year, there's a couple of them.
Which one?
There was one.
The
in
black
Florida,
guy. I was just telling you, he went back to his job and the last.
No, but he only shot the manager.
No.
Wait, which one?
He killed multiple people.
Really?
And then there was the guy
wait, you
in
gotta
California.
which one?
Okay, I'll get his.
You try to look it up. But for the most part, I remember in Florida, someone went back to shoot and he
just killed like they usually have like a set couple dudes at work they wanted to kill.
But why?
So that's like
maybe because that guy was talking crap about him in the middle of the thing, and he's like, "Look, I can't." You know,
there's
like,
gonna be
it's not
some.
necessary.
There's gonna be some baseline malevolence in society.
But don't you think it's like two different things? Because I was trying to explain this to Chris last episode, that like I believe in competition in sports. I think that the winner and losers, I think that's 100% what you need. But I also believe in like political
participation trophies?
No. I don't like those. I'm a competitive person by nature. I love the fact that I can wake up in the morning and I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm always creating. I love that. I've created every single thing that's around me.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? I love that. However, I say for a like political correctness done in moderation, done properly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think we should be coming. If I don't like your pants, I shouldn't like just start talking about how much I hate your pants. I shouldn't offend you just because I feel that's how I feel. I don't think that should be. I don't think that's right.
The reason you can't say that, because at a point, if a dude came and said, you know, you shouldn't have slaves anymore, and he's like, yo, you shouldn't say that to me. Like, that's my lifestyle. Like, I'm a proud plantation owner. Like, yo, you're offending me. What you saying? Yo, I'm saying you're offending me. Like, you.
Wow. That is seriously
such a stretch. You are reaching.
Okay, that is so far.
No, but the reason why is so when America gets founded as a country, when they go against the British, they offended the Brit. Like, you got to understand, like every act of progression starts as a minority. So automatically being the minority thought, you're already offending the majority thought. And that's every progression. So whether you want to stretch it to all the way to slavery, or whether you want to bring it on something smaller, more contemporary, it always starts off that way. So and this is why freedom of speech was the first thing dudes put into place. Like, this is why it was the most important thing. So when you get to the point where, again, freedom of speech is freedom to offend too. Yep. And people keep forgetting that. Like, so it's freedom to speak, whether
and freedom
you
to
like
get beat
it or
up,
not.
And freedom for your...
And if you get beat up, and that's what I say. Like, if I offend you and you punch me in my face
You're
after...
comfortable with that?
Dog,
hey, God bless America.
I'm going to punch you back. But again, it's going to be the whole cycle. Like, but again, I understand karma, I understand energy, and I understand that cycle. But you cannot have freedom of speech without the freedom to offend. Exactly. It's impossible.
Hate speech is free speech. It's real talk.
And you're comfortable with hate speech and stuff.
Again,
and if that goes against...
Well, we have...
Because hate speech allows us people to say we're against that, and we can group together as a community and say we no longer will have... we don't want to be a part... We're going to, as a general, morality-wise, we're not going to be a part of, like, this guy.
Okay.
And then of society. It's a good society. We have a couple jerks. That's going to be that's going to be humankind.
You have to ask yourself, do you want, like, in-your-face racism?
That's Ty.
Or, like, people just thinking it?
I love that. No, show me it. Wear it on your sleeve. I want to see everybody. I want to see everybody.
I do prefer you saying what I do. I don't like. You know what I despise, and this is. I don't want to sound like this is kind of bigoted to say, but I do feel like some, like, you know, like there's like that micro. Passive aggressive, like, especially in the workplace.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like, oh, Jalissa didn't come to work today. I think she she was out partying the other day. It's
I heard Snoop Dogg's in town.
I don't, those things, I don't like those.
No, we're in the center of the universe.
Just say what it is. If you don't like this if you think Jalissa is... She's always late and she's ghetto, and Jalissa has a new hairstyle. Oh wow, this is like the third hairstyle, or this is the third child today.
New York City is the son of that passive aggressive universe.
God. Yeah.
No, it's where
is it really?
This is the thing of it.
And working in corporate world, it kills me.
But here's the irony of it. This is why you could have a state that's like 12-1 Democrat, and you could still have minorities getting pushed out of their communities, but you could still have the same politicians saying they're for minorities.
Funny how that works.
While they're fighting for illegals,
Cringe.
and the people in their districts are getting, gentrified out.
Yeah,
it's all part of the same.
Cringe.
I'm just saying.
Speaking about cringe,
the show.
Seriously. And speaking about cringe, if you guys really want to cringe, watch the video where they interview people on the left and ask about, do you think blacks should have voter ID laws? And see the answers they say. They say stuff like, blacks, like, do they know how to go to DMV? Do you know where to go to get an ID?
Oh, God.
Like, they were saying, like, talking to about blacks, that they're so basic. And I'm like, that's what the left thinks about you guys.
I see the exact same video from the Republican Party.
Republicans want voter ID laws.
No,
because they know blacks can go to get a DMV and go get their ID if they had to. Like, if they don't have it already.
No, you're gonna find idiots. No, you're gonna find idiots on both sides.
There's on both sides, but the Republicans are for voter IDs.
Find black people to be. They think so highly of us. Republicans. They think they're so.
They do.
So pro-black.
No, they think highly of the dudes that regurgitate their talking points. That's what they do.
And that's you guys. They're happy with you
I don't
guys.
regurgitate. What talking point do I regurgitate?
You guys are part of the party.
Conservative ideology.
You
Name
support
one
Trump.
talking point.
You support Trump. You just earlier today you talked about immigrants. You said
supporting a president
is a talking
point. That's like supporting your president, supporting your leader of your country.
You supported him because you voted him in.
So you see how crazy that is?
Yeah. So everybody you voted for.
You see how you're just making that dynamic where you can't even support the there's no logical reason to support this politician.
There's no wait.
That's what you're saying.
You're telling me there's
no. That's what you're saying. That's the dynamic you're creating. Because you're saying that if you support him, you automatically conform with this set of ideological.
No. So
points.
okay. So if you want to ask me as how do I identify like having him as president, he's the president. I hope he doesn't mess it up. I'm not. I don't personally. I didn't vote for him. I've never liked him in real life before he was president. I thought he was a jerk. I thought he was an a-hole. I thought he treats women like they're objects. I don't like anything about him. I don't. So now he's the president. It seems like what he's doing is just keeping his family. I told this last episode. It's just about keeping his family in power. People always
legacy.
It's legacy. His writ. I mean, because he probably knows his kids can't do what he did, so he's like, "Let me do it for them. Let me set them up."
He's actually setting them up to probably do better than him.
Well, we'll see. I don't know.
All right, wait till Trump Jr. is
Wait till Barron gets up. Wait till Barron gets older.
We'll revisit
now.
The youngest.
I'm just saying we'll revisit this conversation with Trump Jr.'s mayor in New York.
We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Another prediction.
It's going down.
It's happening.
When they talk about his grandfather, when they talk about Trump grandfather, when they talk about Trump, his grandfather being in prison, they'll definitely talk about him, how he rose from his grandfather being in jail.
I just hope Andrew Yang runs for mayor.
So now we're jail shaming. We're shaming people for it.
Totally. If Trump,
jail,
jail shaming, I like that. Are we jail shaming now?
You got a lot of words today.
And honestly, did you hear what she said? Because we really do think we like look because they're obviously.
I keep saying this over and over again.
They're not going to let Yang in. We're hoping that he runs for mayor. That's what we're hoping for. There's a slot here in New York. He should run for.
I don't think he wants to. Like, I think because running for, he might, but I would.
This is his city.
I would
do
vote.
Great.
Yeah, but I don't think he necessarily. I literally believe him. Like, he wanted to get that UBI message out. Like, so I don't think he's interested in politics like that. New York, running for mayor in New York is like deep politics. Like that's that's the trenches.
Yeah,
and I don't think I think once you do that presidential route and you get a taste of that, like he don't look like he enjoying it. Like he's enjoying like the people, but he's not enjoying the whole process.
So, really quick, I pretty much know what you're going to say to this, but I just think it's funny. I want to bring it up anyway. What did you guys think of Reagan's calling the African delegates, calling them monkeys, and then Nixon having the tape of it and us hearing, and then now and Reagan's daughter crying about it and stuff. Like, what do you guys think about that? Obviously, we know we talked about.
I think if every president's meetings were recorded, you'd hear monkey at about a 93% rate.
Thank you.
Just keep it at 100, especially in reference to Africa.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say about more than 96% rate, but I was going to say about the same.
I was just trying to be safe.
Yeah, to
like,
be safe with
I could guarantee 93%, but I'd still bet 96. I'd put money on 96.
Okay. That's not okay. That's bad.
You're not asking me what I wish. You're asking me what is. Like, I could tell you what I'd like, but you ask me what is. Like, we talk about what is. It's like I can't change life.
Yep. But I'm sure if we had a black president and they went to another country in Europe and they saw a bunch of people coming out with no shoes on and beards and all Vikings,
when these rappers,
they're going to say something on audio to each other. We all do. It's humankind. It's about
I wouldn't be surprised if Obama was with Biden watching all these urbans coming through with T-shirts when they would have came with a suit if it was a white president. And he probably was like, yo, damn, son, we got to go entertain the monkeys today.
No. Sorry. No.
I'm telling you, man.
Are you just serious? That's not the way he
Yo, y'all think
He has black daughters and a black wife. Come on now.
you never heard a black dude made a joke like that? Like, yo, these monkeys
talking about
I would never said that in my whole life. I've never called a black person.
I've heard of several.
Listen to African men. Listen to.
No, I've made that joke. Yeah, I'm just saying when you see acting stupid in the street, be like, yo, look at these monkeys. Like if I see two dudes acting ratchet
White
in the
people
street,
too?
Who?
Or just black people?
What?
Would you call white people monkeys?
I call anybody. I call people monkeys all the time. But yeah,
all
I call white people the N-word sometimes. Like it's stupid. Like just.
Oh, okay.
Y'all never used to roast.
And that's why we says we
of course.
Y'all don't do it now in life.
No, who am I gonna do it with?
Not really.
Y'all don't have friends.
Girls don't do that to girls.
All right, my bad. Like that's what I'm saying. Like with dudes, dudes crack jokes.
I do think dudes do, but I think that there's a time and place. I think at work you shouldn't do it. I think if you're gonna do it in your home with your family. If you're weird,
and not be the president,
but not be the president.
I'm sure he didn't know he was being recorded.
If you're spending more time at work than you do at home, which is the reality for most people, why wouldn't you create a enjoyable, amicable environment?
It's not enjoyable. How is enjoyable? Calling people monkeys, calling people.
Dog, when dudes are snapping, because the dude is snapping back.
That's what I'm saying. Like eye for an eye, eye for an eye.
So it's like dudes.
Eye for an eye.
That's the thing I was trying to tell you. We talked about microaggression. Remember we talked about not microaggression. What's the
That's
word?
real.
What's the passive aggressive?
Passive.
The passive aggressiveness that happens in New York. That's what I'm talking about. It's like you can do it, but the minute if you work for a corporate thing and you're hearing all that stuff, and the minute you do that to them, you're out of there, buddy. You're out. You don't have no job anymore.
I don't know.
They don't give you. They're not giving you a second chance.
I've been in a lot of
particular situations.
I hear what people say, but I've been in a lot of corporate environments, and I've seen. I've been all over the city. Like I know how stuff like really happens in the back.
So do I.
And dudes is not that soft. Like dudes is not that soft.
Yeah. Well, all right. We're gonna end here because we can go on and on. As you can see, Karl's back, and we love
ending with a bang.
Yeah. We literally had to bring him back for this one because he's we love the way he thinks and the way he
we respect it.
Yeah, we do.
Definitely brings a good energy here.
And Chris was a little scarier today, but okay. All right, he's not as scary, but okay. Thank you guys all for listening. Politricks Podcast. We're so thankful to all the listeners all over the world, especially Texas. That's number one for some reason.
Don't start.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Texas has the most listeners. That's so funny. And New York second. And then everywhere else. But it's, we've been, this is like the little engine that could. We've been, I hope you guys are enjoying this. We've been doing this for the last, 20 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been fun. So, listen to us when we get back. It's going to be a lot better. And obviously, we're going to continue to grow. So, continue to share with friends. If this is your first time listening and watching, start from the beginning. Watch all the episodes.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, Politricks Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Politricks Pod. Find us on YouTube. Subscribe. Leave a comment. Send us an email at hello@politrickspod. And I'm Kerstyn J on Instagram.
Maxine.Outerbridge.
Conservative in New York.
Karl _the Civil Right.
And we're out.
Ladies and gentlemen, back from Washington, D.C.
Have a good summer. Have a good summer, guys.
I think they got something they want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. D.C. I think they got something they want to say.